let me warn you before we begin. Watching this video will make you a high-value man. It will make women stare at you, chase you, be obsessed with you. If you are not ready to deal with those consequences, you still have time to turn off the video. But if you are ready to be chased by women, stay till the end to know the secrets. A lot of men think being dominant means being louder, tougher, or more aggressive. They assume that if they show off, provide more, or constantly prove themselves, women will respect them. But that mindset is outdated and dead wrong. In today's world, true strength doesn't shout. It doesn't chase. It doesn't ask for permission just to be. Real power is calm, centered, and untouchable. The strongest man isn't the one trying to control others. He's the one who doesn't need anything from them. He doesn't beg for love. He doesn't seek constant approval. He doesn't crumble under emotional pressure or twist himself to hold someone's attention. Because here's the truth. In relationships, the man who lacks a backbone gets used. He's the one who gets played, taken for granted, and swapped out when someone stronger comes along. Not because women are heartless, but because human nature pushes against weakness and gravitates towards strength. So, let me be clear. This video isn't about playing games or manipulating people. It's about building yourself into a man who can't be shaken. If you're tired of giving too much, of being picked only to be pushed away, of never feeling sure where you stand, this is for you. Stick around. I'm going to break down 5 Machiavellian rules for mastering emotional and relationship dominance. These principles apply whether you're single, dating, married, or rebuilding your life from scratch. They'll make women feel something they can't explain and earn you the kind of respect that's impossible to fake. Let's get into it. Rule 1. Say less, watch more. Power lives in the man who stays composed. Most guys lose their edge not because they speak, but because they talk too much, too soon. They defend themselves too quickly. They over-explain. They react without thinking. And every time they do, they give away something valuable, their emotional control. Machiavelli put it this way: a prince must avoid being hated or despised, and nothing makes a man more pitiful than inconsistency. In simpler terms, reactivity is weakness. The one who flinches first loses his leverage. So, how does this play out in real life? Let's say a woman gives you the silent treatment after an argument. The average guy panics. He starts sending long texts, calling again and again, apologizing for things he didn't even do, just to get her attention back. He thinks he's fixing things, but what he's really doing is giving away the frame. She pulled back, and he chased. She was testing his core, and he proved he didn't have one. Now, picture a different scenario. You're in a meeting, and someone cuts you off mid-sentence. Most people would raise their voice or try to talk over them. But that's not power. That's insecurity. A more strategic move? Say nothing. Let the silence do the heavy lifting, make them uncomfortable. Then when you speak, keep your words sharp, clear, and slow. Power isn't about being loud. It's about contrast, calm in a room full of noise. Machiavelli also said, "He who builds on the people builds on mud." If you depend on others' reactions, especially women's, to feel confident, your foundation will always be shaky. Here's something you can try today. The next time a woman pulls away emotionally, resist the urge to chase. Don't flood the silence. Don't match her distance with neediness. Just hold your ground. Let her feel the gap. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Then, and only then, speak with confidence. No begging, no long explanations. Just one clear sentence, direct and calm. Because a man who stays grounded under pressure becomes a mystery. And mystery is power. A man who can't be predicted, he can't be controlled. Rule 2. Control the frame or get trapped in hers. Let's get one thing straight. People don't respond to facts. They respond to the narrative in their head, especially in relationships. And once that story is formed, even your best moves can be misread. Machiavelli said it best. Men judge more by appearance than by reality. Everyone has eyes, but not everyone sees clearly. He wasn't being bitter. He was being blunt. The way others perceive you matters more than what's actually true. If you're not shaping that perception, someone else will. And it usually won't be to your benefit. In a relationship, this might look like you constantly doing nice things, texting first, planning dates, giving gifts. You think you're showing love, She sees you overcompensating. The harder you try to prove your worth, the more it looks like you're lacking it. Once she labels you as needy, even confidence starts looking fake. Even generosity feels like guilt. But flip it. You move slower. You speak only when there's something meaningful to say. You stop performing and just exist with intent. Suddenly she starts attaching qualities to you, grounded, mysterious, high value, all without you having to say a word. Why? Because you took control of the frame before you tried to influence the outcome. You didn't jump through hoops hoping she'd finally see your value. You walked in already knowing it. And this doesn't just apply to women, it's everywhere. Picture this. Two men walk into a room. One's quiet, sharp-dressed, observing. He's calm, collected. Doesn't need to talk to be noticed. The room reacts to him. The other guy walks in talking too much, trying to be liked, over-explaining before anyone even asks a question. Even if he's more skilled, people will assume the first man is the one with the power. Why? Framing. Like Machiavelli said, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you really are. This isn't about faking anything. It's about revealing yourself strategically. Here's a practical shift you can make today. Stop chasing attention. Stop explaining yourself unless it's necessary. Move with quiet intention. Let her imagination do the heavy lifting. Because the man who doesn't try to be seen often becomes unforgettable. In a world obsessed with being loud, presence is power. Rule 3, win her mind before you try to win her heart. Attraction starts up top, in the mind. If she doesn't respect how you think, she won't stay loyal to how you feel. Most men try to win women with effort, constant compliments, daily check-ins, giving more and more affection. They assume that being emotionally available is enough. But it's not effort that keeps her, it's respect. You can flood her with messages, gifts, attention. But if her belief system tells her that men are weak, unreliable, or disposable, nothing you do will stick. She'll take what you give, appreciate it for a moment, then drift away. Not because you didn't care, but because you didn't understand. Machiavelli understood this well. He said, "The best way to judge a ruler's intelligence is by the people he surrounds himself with." In other words, your standards and who you choose reflect your inner clarity. Ask yourself, what kind of woman am I trying to convince? Does she actually want a real connection? Or is she just looking for attention? Does she see men as leaders or as tools? If her mind is wired to expect disappointment, no act of kindness will change that. You'll just end up proving her cynicism right. And this goes beyond dating. Let's say you're at a family dinner trying to pitch a business idea. You've got the facts, the numbers, the plan, but your cousin already decided you're a dreamer who won't follow through. No matter what you say, his mind won't budge. Why? Because belief always beats facts. People don't change based on logic. They shift based on what their minds allow them to believe. So, here's the move. Before you pour energy into someone, pause and examine their mindset. If it's not aligned with your values, your effort becomes wasted fuel. Win the mind. Then, and only then, aim for the heart. Rule 4, see through her mask. Without triggering her defenses. Every woman has a mask. Sometimes it shows up as confidence, sometimes sarcasm, independence, coldness, or control. But behind it, often there's fear, insecurity, a need that hasn't been met, and doesn't want to be seen. Most men get caught up reacting to the mask. They argue with the tone, not the truth. They defend against the cold shoulder, instead of understanding the wound behind it. But if you can see through it, and respond with calm, grounded awareness, you win without ever raising your voice. Machiavelli wrote, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver, not to harm, but to gain insight without exposing your hand." Let's unpack that. She says, do what you want. So you do, and then she pulls away, turns cold, distant. Most guys panic or get angry, but a strategic man doesn't flinch. He sees the hidden test behind the words. She didn't want indifference. She wanted to feel seen without admitting it, and this shows up everywhere. You walk into a store, and the cashier is rude. Instead of snapping, you slow down and ask, "Rough day?" Her guard drops. The coldness had nothing to do with you. Same with women. Her attitude often isn't about you. It's about her armor. If you attack it, she defends harder. If you mirror it with calm energy, it begins to crack. At that family dinner, maybe your uncle mocks your career, But later, you find out he just lost his job and never told anyone. His pride was a shield, not strength. Here's the difference between players and pawns. The pawn reacts to pride. The player mirrors it, sees through it, and chooses when to engage, or withdraw. Don't try to fix her pain. Don't battle her mask. Create space for her to drop it on her own. That's when you find the real version. And if that real version never shows up, walk. Quietly. Completely. Because a man who can see the truth beneath someone's surface, but stay grounded in his own, becomes magnetic. To women, to rooms, to life. Rule 5, become the mystery. She can't solve. Here's the paradox. The more a woman understands you, the more she starts managing you. And the moment she feels like she's figured you out, the attraction begins to fade. Why? Because predictability is safe, but it's not exciting. Mystery, on the other hand, creates intrigue. It awakens her imagination, her curiosity, her emotional investment. Machiavelli may not have written about dating, but his principles still apply. He said, "People judge more by what they see than what they feel. Let them see enough to believe, but never enough to control." The predictable man always texts first, always explains how he feels, always gives access to his thoughts and time. At first it feels sweet, but over time it feels expected. Then it feels boring. Then it feels disposable. But a man who doesn't overexpose himself, who holds some emotional depth back, who moves with quiet purpose instead of loud gestures. He keeps her guessing, not in a toxic way, but in a way that makes her respect him. And this doesn't mean being cold or withholding. It means having layers. It means being intentional with what you reveal. Same thing at a party. Everyone's bragging, talking over each other, oversharing. Then there's the one guy who just listens, smiles, says little. But when he speaks, people lean in. That's power. That's presence. That's mystery. So the lesson? Be the man who isn't easy to figure out. Be the one she wants to understand, but never fully can. Not because you're playing games, but because you're too deep to be surface level. That's how you stay in her mind long after you've left the room. You listen more than you speak. You stay calm. And people notice, not because you're loud, but because your silence makes them ask, "Who is this man?" That question, that curiosity, it becomes your aura. Same thing at work. You don't announce every move. You don't defend every idea. You let results whisper what others scream. And because no one can fully predict your next step, they start respecting the space you take without you asking for it. Here's the shift. Stop revealing everything. Speak less than you know. Show less than you feel. Move with less than your full power, until the moment demands it. Because the predictable man is manageable. But the man who walks like a mystery, calmly, confidently, intentionally, he's unforgettable. That is the essence of masculine dominance. And if you've made it this far, you've already done what most never will. You've faced the mirror. You've rejected the noise. You've chosen the uncommon path, self-respect without condition. Most men run on emotional autopilot. They chase validation, then blame women for the leash they tied around their own necks. They confuse chaos with chemistry, intensity with intimacy, obedience with love. But you're done with that. You're building something rare, something silent, solid, presence. These Machiavellian rules weren't written to make you cold. They were written to make you clear, to help you cut through illusion, to protect your soul from being twisted to fit someone else's fantasy. Because, let's be honest, most heartbreak doesn't come from being rejected. It comes from betraying yourself just to be accepted. But when you stop reacting and start living by design, your silence becomes strategy, your boundaries become law, and your love becomes a gift, not a leash. From now on, don't explain yourself. Refine yourself. Don't perform to be seen. Be so clear in your value that it's undeniable. Lead without needing control. Inspire without effort. Command respect not with noise, but by what you refuse to tolerate. This is how kings are made, not in thrones, but in stillness, in self-control, in presence. So, keep going. Choose alignment over approval. Protect your peace like it's your kingdom. Because the man who walks in clarity doesn't chase, he attracts. And what he attracts respects him. Stay calm. Stay strategic, stay sovereign, and never forget, you're not here to be loved for your mask, you're here to be respected for your truth. One last thing. If you're ready to stop living like the 99% and start thinking, moving, and attracting like the 1%, what I'm building will change the way women see you and the way you see yourself. It's coming soon, so stay tuned. If this hits something inside you, don't just scroll. Write something below, even one line. Why? Because when you write it, you own it, and someone else might read your words and wake up too. Hit like. Share this with someone who needs it. Trust your instinct. Because in this world, we don't just need stronger men, we need clearer ones. Let's build minds that don't break, and become men that the world doesn't forget.